welcome to class. I hope everyone's having a wonderful day. So before we begin with our lesson, I just want to check in with everyone, see how we're doing, get us in the right mind space to start our lesson today. So we're just going to go around and say one good thing that's happened to us. I'll start. I got to do some drawing today. Samia?
I got ice cream today.
Sam?
I got to play soccer.
Oscar?
I ate pizza.
Matilda?
I listened to good music today.
I'm glad you guys have all had such great things happen today. As we ended our last class kind of talking about vocabulary, I asked everyone to kind of indicate a word from the passage that we've been working on the past week that they weren't familiar with, and that word that was most often identified was the word barracks, which I've bolded for you all. So today I'm just kind of go over a little bit about context clues about what to do when you don't know a word, which happens all the time in reading, no matter how old you are, where you are, so very normal. Don't feel bad when you don't know a word. What we're going to do is kind of read this little portion before it and then read the little portion after it to kind of get an idea of what it means. So before it, we have our character Isabel talking about how new people are coming to the farm from Oklahoma. And then after it, it's kind of saying that the owner brought army barracks, which barracks is the word we're looking for, from an old military camp and is moving them onto the property. So from here, we kind of understand that there's new people coming into our setting and that they need somewhere to live, and that the owner of the farm brought army barracks. So does anyone have an idea of maybe what barracks mean? Matilda?
Maybe like a house.
Exactly. We don't need to know the exact definition, but we understand that it's somewhere people are going to stay, and that's good enough. All right, so now we're kind of move into like the main exciting point of our lesson, which is about characters and what we learn from characters. So I think that studying characters is one of the most fun ways to analyze a book, because characters are kind of the way that the author is guiding us through the novel. It's as close to the author that we get to talk to. We can relate to characters. They become our friends throughout the novel. So we're going to focus on two main characters today. We have Hortensia, which is kind of a mother figure in the novel, and Esperanza, which is our main character, and Isabel, which is a younger sister figure to Esperanza. So I underlined the main passage we're going to be focusing on. Does anyone want to read that passage? Sam?
One day a week, said Hortensia with Esperanza. The Mexicans don't swim on Friday afternoons before they clean the pool on Saturday mornings. Esperanza pounded the door a little too hard. We think we're getting the others. Hortensia did not answer but turned to the stove to cook the tortilla on the flat, black coal mine over the flame. She looked at Esperanza and held her finger to her mouth, signaling to her not to discuss too much in front of Israel.
Okay, so what are we getting from kind of Esperanza's point of view of the issue at hand, which is the racism of not letting the Mexicans swim in the new pool before the day is clean, versus Hortensia, the older figure's kind of point of view on how they view how much Isabel should know about the situation? Is anyone kind of getting kind of a different point of view that we learn about, what we learn about these two characters? Samia?
Well, Esperanza kind of, not to say that she doesn't have a filter, but she kind of says what she feels, whereas Hortensia said kind of is trying to prevent her from predisposing Isabel from like racism.
Mm-hmm. So we kind of get this question of, how much do we expose children? How much do we want them to know? What do you guys think that it's important to have these conversations with young children?
I think it's important, but I kind of get the mom too, because there's a good thing about having innocence to be preserved, ignorance is bliss type thing. Because I like that, she doesn't have to be faced with the harsh realities of being Mexican.
I agree. I think that there's a time and a place in different instances which we confront issues, but I also think it's important not to underestimate, the capabilities of young people in kind of approaching divisive issues. We don't have a lot more time, so the last thing we're going to do is give you a quick way to approach dialogue. I kind of took some words that we're used to when we approach questions in articles, the who, what, when, where, why, but I've switched it up a little bit, and it's what, who, why, how, what, which is kind of a tongue twister. I don't know if anyone wants to try saying that. It's a little bit difficult, but I think it's a nice circular way to analyze dialogue. So we have our what, what's happening, what is the person saying, our who's speaking, why are they saying this, what does it add to the story, how does it reframe and influence how we see the character, and then what, we bring it back to the same what of what are they not saying. You know, we kind of learn a lot from what people are not saying. You know, Hortensia not wanting to be so graphic in front of Isabel, we learn a lot about navigating difficult situations from that. So that's all we have time for today. Thank you so much for being wonderful students.